So, good evening, good morning. I just want to take this last minute here to cover the final and what we're going to see on the final for the final for PSSL 6240. Just final prep. This is how it's going to work. There's going to be two sections: a history section for the first part, and then a contemporary studies section for the second part. In the first section, you will be given two questions. You will answer one of two questions. Do not answer both questions, just one of two. In the second part, you'll be given three questions. Answer two of three. So you will be answering three questions total. I just want to make that clear. So you will be answering three questions. You will have 3 hours to answer the three questions, about 500 words per question. It's nothing that's there's not going to be any gotcha questions. It's not going to be something like, what year was the FLN started or anything specific like that. We're looking at longer themes and issues and things that are brought up in the lecture. You're going to have a thesis, back it up with evidence. You've heard me talk about that in the papers and on the discussion sections. So strong thesis, take a position, back it up with evidence. If you didn't review the lectures, you will not do well. I'll say that right up front. Big hint. The lectures are the cornerstone of this. However, I'll also ask you to utilize and cite the reading material. So make sure that you've integrated the readings with the lectures and put that down in your final. Final is open book, open note, but you will need to study. You won't be able to read everything up in a second in a 3-hour period. So, feel free to highlight, tab, do whatever you need to do. Print out the PowerPoints so you can quickly refer to them. So yeah, that's kind of the overview of the final, or the mechanics of the final. What's going to be covered are the following: terrorism history, 4 waves. That will be a focus point specifically on those 2 case studies brought up in the lectures, the FLN and the Irgun. So know those 4 waves and that article about the 4 waves. Road to 9/11. Know the difference between the short history and the long history. And that was brought up in the discussion section. So you should be well aware of whether you think 9/11 was a short history issue, something in immediate history, or whether the road to 9/11 and the anger that was felt in the Muslim world goes back decades, centuries, multiple centuries. So take a position on that. Terrorism finance, benefits, applications. How do you apply counterterrorism finance? That will be a potential question. 4 case studies. Know those 4 case studies. How the terrorist group adapted. You probably did 1 in your discussion section. Know the other 3. WMD terrorism. You did a paper on that, but you should also be familiar with kind of the mechanics of WMD terrorism, the potential for terrorist use. Comparative counterterrorism strategy, lessons learned from other countries. So make sure you're familiar with all the Israel and EU, what was brought up in the reading. So know the counterterrorism strategies, or the comparative piece. Domestic jihadist threat, again, brought up in week 7. Know how the jihadist threat has evolved in the United States. I would even go as far to say in the West, particularly as it relates to ISIS. And the congressional research paper does a pretty good overview of that. And then finally, high-value targeting. Why does it work? Under what circumstances work? Does it work? Those types of questions will be brought up in the final. So if there's any questions or issues, please let me know. And again, if there's any other questions or issues with the course, please let me know. And please do your course introduction or your course reviews. That's the only way I know how to improve for next time. There's a very real possibility you have me again in another class, so you want to make sure that I'm maybe, if I'm more focused or more on target, or if there's any room for improvement, that's there. So that's a review for the final. Good luck on it. And if I don't see you, good luck in the rest of the program and for your endeavors afterward.